Sarah Mitchell had always believed that elegance was something you were born with, not something you could buy at a discount store. Standing in her cramped London flat, staring at the stack of unpaid bills on her kitchen table, she felt further from royal grace than ever before. The 28-year-old primary school teacher had just received another rejection letter from the private academy where she had dreamed of working. The reason was always the same, though never spoken aloud. Her appearance didn't match their expectations. The morning sun filtered through her thin curtains, casting long shadows across the modest living room she shared with her flatmate Emma. Sarah's wardrobe consisted mainly of fast fashion pieces that had seen better days, and her teaching salary barely covered rent, let alone a professional makeover. She had grown up watching her mother work 3 jobs just to keep food on the table, and the idea of spending money on clothes felt frivolous, even irresponsible. But everything changed on a rainy Tuesday morning when Sarah stumbled across an article while scrolling through her phone during her lunch break at Meadowbrook Primary School. The headline read, "Budget-friendly royal style, 10 affordable outfits worn by Catherine, Princess of Wales." Sarah almost scrolled past it, assuming it would be another unrealistic fashion piece about expensive designer clothes disguised as affordable. However, something made her pause and click. As she read, Sarah's eyes widened with disbelief. The article detailed how Catherine had worn a simple blue dress from Zara that cost only £49 to a charity event, making it sell out within hours. There were photos of her in a high-street cardigan from a popular chain store, looking effortlessly elegant while visiting a children's hospital. The princess had mixed expensive pieces with budget-friendly items so seamlessly that most people never realized which was which. Sarah found herself leaning forward, captivated by each example. Here was someone who could afford any designer in the world, yet chose to shop at the same stores Sarah passed every day on her way to work. The article explained how Catherine's approach to fashion was about smart shopping, timeless pieces, and creative styling rather than expensive labels. It showed how she had taken a 20-pound shirt and made it look like something from a luxury boutique by pairing it thoughtfully with other pieces. The more Sarah read, the more a spark of hope began to kindle in her chest. She had always admired Catherine's style from afar, assuming it was completely out of reach for someone like her. But seeing the actual prices of many pieces, Sarah realized that royal elegance wasn't about having an unlimited budget. It was about making intelligent choices, understanding what worked for your body type, and having the confidence to wear simple pieces well. That evening, Sarah sat on her bed with her laptop, diving deeper into the world of Catherine's accessible fashion choices. She discovered that the princess often re-wore outfits, sometimes years apart, proving that good style wasn't about constantly buying new things. Catherine had worn the same elegant coat to multiple events, each time styling it differently with accessories or different undergarments. This approach resonated deeply with Sarah, who had been taught to make things last, but had never seen it as potentially elegant until now. Sarah began taking notes, creating what she privately called her royal budget blueprint. She researched each outfit mentioned in various articles, noting not just the individual pieces but how they were combined. She learned about the importance of fit, discovering that even inexpensive clothes could look expensive if they fit properly. Catherine's secret wasn't just in choosing affordable pieces, but in ensuring they were tailored perfectly to her frame. The teacher in Sarah appreciated the methodical approach this required. Just as she planned lessons for her students, she began planning her style transformation. She created a spreadsheet, listing items by priority and cost, calculating how she could afford each piece over the coming months. Her teaching salary was modest, but by skipping her daily coffee shop visits and bringing lunch from home, she could save enough to invest in key pieces. Emma noticed the change in Sarah's evening routine. Instead of watching television or scrolling mindlessly through social media, Sarah was researching fashion blogs, studying photos of Catherine's outfits, and making detailed notes. When Emma asked about this new obsession, Sarah felt embarrassed at first. It seemed shallow to focus so much on clothes when there were more important things in the world. But As Sarah explained her discovery, Emma began to understand. This wasn't about becoming materialistic or superficial. For Sarah, it was about recognizing that presentation mattered in her professional life, and that looking polished didn't have to be financially impossible. Emma had watched her friends struggle with confidence in professional settings, always feeling underdressed compared to colleagues from more privileged backgrounds. Sarah's research revealed that Catherine's most iconic looks often featured surprisingly simple pieces. A classic white button-down shirt, well-fitted dark jeans, a quality blazer, and comfortable flats had formed the foundation of countless elegant outfits. These weren't trendy pieces that would look dated in a year. They were timeless staples that could be mixed and matched endlessly. The more Sarah studied Catherine's approach, the more she realized it was actually quite practical and sensible. The princess favored pieces that could transition from day to evening with simple changes. A dress suitable for a morning school visit could become appropriate for an evening charity gala with the addition of different shoes and jewelry. This versatility made each piece work harder in her wardrobe, providing better value for money. Sarah began visiting the stores mentioned in the articles, not to buy immediately, but to touch the fabrics and try things on. She was learning to distinguish between items that look good on the hanger and those that look good when worn. Catherine's choices weren't always the most striking pieces in the store window, but they were the ones that photographed beautifully and looked appropriate in any setting. During one of these shopping expeditions, Sarah met Margaret, an elderly woman who was examining the same blue dress that Catherine had worn to a recent event. Margaret shared that she had been following the princess's fashion choices for years, impressed by how Catherine had modernized royal dressing without losing its elegance. Margaret explained that she remembered when royal fashion meant stuffy, formal clothes that ordinary people could never relate to. Catherine's approach made royal style feel accessible and relevant. This conversation with Margaret helped Sarah realize she wasn't alone in her admiration for Catherine's fashion philosophy. There were women of all ages who appreciated the princess's democratic approach to style. Catherine had somehow managed to honor the dignity required of her royal role while remaining relatable to ordinary women facing ordinary budgets. As weeks passed, Sarah's understanding of style began to evolve. She stopped seeing expensive clothes as automatically better and started appreciating the skill required to create elegant looks with modest pieces. Catherine's style wasn't about the price tags. It was about understanding color, proportion, occasion, and personal authentic style. The princess had developed a signature look that was recognizably hers while being adaptable to different situations and seasons. Sarah's first purchase was a simple navy blazer from one of Catherine's frequently shopped brands. It cost her a week's coffee money, but when she tried it on, she understood why Catherine chose such pieces. The blazer was well constructed despite its reasonable price, with clean lines that made Sarah's silhouette look more polished. She could already envision wearing it to job interviews, parent meetings, and weekend events. The blazer became Sarah's confidence booster. She wore it to a staff meeting where she was presenting a new curriculum proposal and noticed how differently colleagues responded to her. Her ideas weren't any better than usual, but her presentation felt more authoritative. The blazer gave her a sense of professionalism that affected how she carried herself and how others perceived her contributions. This small victory motivated Sarah to continue her royal-inspired style journey. She began to see her transformation not as vanity, but as an investment in her professional future and personal confidence. Catherine's approach had shown her that looking polished was a form of self-respect, and that style could be a tool for success rather than just decoration. Sarah started photographing her outfits, not for social media, but to study what worked and what didn't. She was learning to see herself objectively, understanding which colors flattered her skin tone and which silhouettes made her feel most confident. Catherine's consistent style choices provided a masterclass in developing a personal uniform that eliminated daily decision fatigue while ensuring always appropriate appearance. The transformation wasn't just about clothes. Sarah found herself standing straighter, speaking more confidently, and taking up space in conversations where she had previously remained quiet. The external changes were creating internal shifts, much as they seemed to have done for Catherine, who had evolved from a relatively shy university student into a confident public figure. As Sarah prepared for bed one evening, she reflected on how much her perspective had changed since discovering Catherine's budget-friendly approach to royal dressing. What had started as a desperate search for professional confidence was becoming a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Sarah was learning that true elegance wasn't about having money. It was about making thoughtful choices and wearing them with confidence. The stack of bills on her kitchen table hadn't disappeared, but Sarah's approach to them had changed. Instead of feeling defeated by her financial limitations, she was learning to work creatively within them. Catherine's example had shown her that constraints could inspire creativity rather than limit it. Some of the princess's most memorable looks had come from mixing high and low pieces, proving that style was about vision rather than budget. Sarah's notebook filled with observations and plans grew thicker each day. She was developing her own style philosophy, inspired by Catherine, but adapted to her own life and needs. The primary school teacher was discovering that she had always had good instincts about style. She had simply lacked the confidence to trust them and the knowledge to implement them effectively. 3 months into her royal style journey, Sarah stood before her bedroom mirror wearing her second Catherine-inspired purchase, a cream-colored sweater that the princess had worn to a children's charity event. The sweater had cost Sarah £35, representing nearly a week of careful budgeting, but seeing herself in it made every sacrifice worthwhile. The soft cashmere blend fell perfectly across her shoulders, and the classic cut made her look polished without trying too hard. Sarah had learned to shop with Catherine's methodology, visiting stores multiple times before making purchases. She would try items on, walk around the shop to see how they moved with her body, and even take photos to study later. This patient approach had saved her from several impulse purchases that would have been mistakes. Catherine's style wasn't about following every trend. It was about choosing pieces that would still look elegant years later. The transformation in Sarah's professional life became evident during her next job interview at Wellington Academy, the prestigious private school where she had been rejected twice before. This time, she walked in wearing her navy blazer over a crisp white shirt, paired with well-fitted dark trousers and simple leather flats. The outfit was entirely composed of pieces Catherine had worn to various events, but Sarah had made them her own through careful styling and confident wear. Mrs. Pemberton, the headmistress, noticed the change immediately, though she couldn't quite identify what was different about Sarah. The outfit conveyed competence and reliability without being flashy or inappropriate. Sarah carried herself differently, too, with the quiet confidence that came from knowing she looked appropriately dressed for any situation that might arise during the interview. During the interview, Sarah discussed her teaching philosophy with newfound authority. The external changes had created internal shifts that went far beyond clothing. When Mrs. Pemberton asked about her approach to working with privileged students, Sarah's response was measured and thoughtful. She had learned from Catherine's example that elegance was as much about behavior and demeanor as it was about clothing choices. The interview went exceptionally well. Mrs. Pemberton was impressed not only by Sarah's qualifications, but by her presentation and confidence. 2 days later, Sarah received the call offering her the position. When she shared the news with Emma, both women understood that the royal-inspired transformation had played a significant role in this success. Sarah hadn't changed who she was. She had learned to present her best self effectively. Starting at Wellington Academy, Sarah discovered that her new wardrobe gave her confidence to connect with students from very different backgrounds than those at her previous school. Many of these children had grown up with privilege, and Sarah's polished appearance helped establish respect from the beginning. She understood now why Catherine's style choices were so carefully considered. They needed to work across diverse audiences and situations. Sarah's lunch breaks became planning sessions for her next style investments. She had created a capsule wardrobe plan based on Catherine's most versatile pieces, prioritizing items that could be mixed and matched extensively. Her goal was to create a professional wardrobe where every piece worked with every other piece, maximizing the number of outfit combinations possible with minimal pieces. The next addition to Sarah's wardrobe was a pair of black leather pumps with a modest heel, identical to ones Catherine wore regularly. Sarah had saved for these shoes for 6 weeks, knowing they would be foundational to her professional look. When she first wore them to school, she noticed how the small heel change affected her posture and walk. She moved with more purpose and authority, understanding why Catherine chose such shoes for important engagements. Sarah's students began responding differently to her as well. Children were remarkably perceptive about adult confidence levels, and Sarah's increased self-assurance translated into more effective classroom management. She found herself speaking more clearly and decisively, traits that her improved appearance had helped cultivate. The external transformation was creating positive feedback loops that reinforced her growing confidence. One afternoon, while helping a struggling student with mathematics, Sarah realized how much Catherine's approach to public life had influenced her own teaching style. The princess always appeared genuinely interested in the people she met, regardless of their background or circumstances. Sarah began incorporating this authentic engagement into her interactions with students, parents, and colleagues. The budget aspect of Sarah's transformation had taught her valuable lessons about prioritizing and planning. She learned to invest in quality basics that would last, rather than buying multiple cheaper pieces that would wear out quickly. Catherine's approach to re-wearing outfits had shown Sarah that true style wasn't about constantly having new clothes, but about maximizing the potential of well-chosen pieces. Sarah's growing confidence led to new opportunities at Wellington Academy. When the school needed someone to represent them at an education conference, Mrs. Pemberton suggested Sarah. A year earlier, Sarah would have felt intimidated by such a professional gathering, but her royal-inspired style transformation had given her the tools to feel appropriately dressed and confident in any professional setting. Preparing for the conference, Sarah chose a sophisticated navy dress that Catherine had worn to several different types of events. Sarah paired it with her reliable blazer and pumps, creating a look that was professional enough for formal presentations but approachable enough for networking conversations. She had learned from Catherine's example how to achieve versatility through thoughtful accessorizing and styling. At the conference, Sarah found herself in conversations with head teachers and education officials who took her seriously from the first introduction. Her presentation style had evolved along with her appearance. She spoke with the measured confidence she had observed in Catherine's public speaking. Sarah's ideas about innovative teaching methods were well received, leading to invitations to speak at other events. The success of the conference opened doors Sarah had never expected. Wellington Academy offered her additional responsibilities, including mentoring new teachers and developing curriculum guidelines. With each new opportunity, Sarah felt grateful for the confidence that Catherine's approachable style philosophy had helped her develop. Sarah's friendship with Emma deepened as Emma witnessed her friend's transformation. Emma had initially worried that Sarah was becoming superficial, but she came to understand that this journey was about much more than clothes. Sarah was learning to value herself and present her best qualities effectively. Emma began asking Sarah for style advice, curious about this accessible approach to elegance. Together, they began planning shopping trips where Sarah would share what she had learned about quality, fit, and versatile styling. Emma was amazed by how much thought went into creating seemingly effortless outfits. Sarah explained how Catherine's style worked because every choice was intentional, from the color palette to the occasion-appropriate level of formality. Sarah's relationship with her mother also evolved during this period. When she visited home wearing one of her Catherine-inspired outfits, her mother commented on how professional and confident Sarah appeared. Her mother had worked hard to provide for Sarah's education, and seeing her daughter thriving professionally was deeply meaningful. Sarah explained how she had learned to dress well on a budget and Her mother was proud of this practical approach to professional development. The financial discipline required for Sarah's style transformation had improved other areas of her life as well. She had learned to distinguish between wants and needs, to save patiently for worthwhile investments, and to maximize the value of every purchase. These skills were serving her well as she began earning a higher salary at Wellington Academy and planning for her future. Sarah's notebook had evolved into a comprehensive style guide, filled with observations about what worked in different professional situations. She had documented which outfits received positive responses, which combinations were most comfortable for long work days, and which pieces were worth investing in versus which could be found affordably. This systematic approach reflected her teacher's mindset applied to personal development. As autumn approached, Sarah began planning her seasonal wardrobe additions. Catherine's approach to transitional dressing provided excellent guidance for making the most of key pieces across different weather conditions. Sarah learned how a single dress could work in summer with sandals, and in autumn with boots and a cardigan, maximizing the cost per wear of each investment. The transformation had affected Sarah's social life as well. She felt confident accepting invitations to professional events and social gatherings where she had previously felt underdressed or out of place. Her growing social circle included colleagues from Wellington Academy and connections from the Education Conference, expanding her professional network significantly. Sarah's success had not gone unnoticed by others facing similar challenges. Several younger teachers at Wellington Academy began asking her for advice about professional dressing on a budget. Sarah found herself mentoring others in the same way Catherine's example had guided her own journey. She realized that accessible elegance was something that could be shared and taught, rather than hoarded as a personal advantage. The ripple effects of Sarah's transformation continued to expand. Her increased confidence had made her a more effective teacher, which benefited her students. Her professional success created opportunities that might lead to positive changes in educational practices. Catherine's democratic approach to style had inspired changes that extended far beyond Sarah's wardrobe, touching every aspect of her life and work. As Sarah prepared for her first parent-teacher conferences at Wellington Academy, she felt ready to represent herself and her profession with dignity and confidence. The journey that had begun with a simple article about budget-friendly royal style had evolved into a complete personal and professional transformation. Sarah understood now that true style was about much more than clothing. It was about presenting your best self to the world with authenticity and confidence. 6 months after beginning her royal style journey, Sarah found herself standing in front of a room full of distinguished educators at the National Teaching Excellence Conference. She wore a tailored burgundy dress that Catherine had chosen for a similar professional engagement, paired with her trusted navy blazer and the black pumps that had become her signature footwear. The outfit cost less than 150 pounds total, but Sarah carried herself with the confidence of someone wearing designer pieces. The presentation Sarah was about to give focused on innovative approaches to primary mathematics education, but her journey to this moment had been shaped as much by her style transformation as by her teaching expertise. The confidence she had gained from learning to dress like Catherine had translated into professional boldness that surprised even Sarah herself. As she began speaking, Sarah remembered the shy teacher who had once felt intimidated by professional gatherings. Catherine's approach to public engagement had taught Sarah that confidence was something that could be developed through practice and preparation. Just as Catherine had grown from a relatively reserved university student into someone who could address crowds with grace, Sarah had discovered her own capacity for professional leadership. The audience responded enthusiastically to Sarah's presentation. Her ideas about making mathematics accessible to all students, regardless of their background, resonated with educators who were struggling with similar challenges. After her talk, several conference attendees approached Sarah, wanting to discuss her methods further. These conversations led to invitations to consult with other schools facing similar challenges. Dr. Helena Morrison, a respected education researcher, was particularly impressed by Sarah's work. She invited Sarah to collaborate on a research project examining effective teaching methods in diverse classrooms. This opportunity would have seemed impossible to Sarah just months earlier, but her transformation had prepared her to recognize and seize such chances for professional growth. The collaboration with Dr. Morrison introduced Sarah to a wider professional network. She found herself attending dinner meetings with educational leaders, policymakers, and researchers. In these settings, Sarah's Catherine-inspired wardrobe choices serve her well. She had learned to dress appropriately for any professional situation, understanding that her appearance communicated respect for colleagues and seriousness about her work. Sarah's success at Wellington Academy continued to grow as well. Mrs. Pemberton had been so impressed with Sarah's development that she offered her the position of assistant head of primary education. The promotion came with increased responsibilities and a significant salary increase, validating Sarah's investment in her professional development. With her improved financial situation, Sarah faced new decisions about her wardrobe. She could afford more expensive pieces now, but Catherine's example had taught her that price wasn't everything. Sarah continued to shop thoughtfully, choosing pieces that aligned with her established style, while gradually adding higher quality items that would serve as long-term investments. Sarah's approach to shopping had become methodical and purposeful. She would identify gaps in her wardrobe, research Catherine's choices for similar needs, and then find the best available options within her budget. This systematic approach meant that every purchase was intentional and contributed to her overall professional image. The burgundy dress she had worn to the conference became one of Sarah's most versatile pieces. She learned to style it differently for various occasions, taking inspiration from how Catherine adapted similar pieces for different events. With different accessories and shoes, the same dress could work for teaching, formal dinners, or professional presentations. Sarah's relationship with her students had evolved as her confidence grew. She commanded more respect in the classroom, not through authority or strictness, but through the quiet confidence that came from feeling appropriately dressed and professionally prepared for any situation. Her students responded to this assurance by engaging more seriously with their learning. The mathematics curriculum Sarah had developed was gaining attention beyond Wellington Academy. Other schools were requesting copies of her materials, and she was invited to lead professional development workshops for teachers struggling with similar challenges. Each of these opportunities reinforced Sarah's understanding that professional presentation mattered in establishing credibility and influence. Emma watched her friend's transformation with amazement and pride. Sarah had not only improved her professional situation, but had discovered leadership abilities that had always been present, but previously hidden. Emma began following Catherine's style choices herself, inspired by the positive changes she had witnessed in Sarah's life. During one of their shopping expeditions, Sarah and Emma encounter Margaret, the elderly woman Sarah had met months earlier while researching Catherine's fashion choices. Margaret was delighted to see how Sarah's style had evolved and was impressed by the confidence transformation she observed. This chance meeting reinforced for Sarah that her journey was part of a larger community of women who found inspiration in Catherine's accessible approach to elegance. Sarah's mother visited Wellington Academy for a special event where Sarah was being recognized for her innovative teaching methods. Seeing her daughter speak confidently to a room full of distinguished guests, Sarah's mother felt profound pride. The professional success that Sarah had achieved seemed to justify all the sacrifices that had been made for her education. The recognition at Wellington Academy led to media attention for Sarah's mathematics curriculum. A local education magazine featured her work, including a photograph of Sarah in her classroom. For this photo shoot, Sarah chose a simple but elegant outfit inspired by Catherine's approach to media appearances, professional enough to convey expertise, but approachable enough to connect with the teachers who would be reading the article. The magazine article generated more opportunities for Sarah. Educational publishers expressed interest in her curriculum materials, and she was invited to speak at conferences across the country. Each new opportunity required Sarah to present herself professionally in different contexts, and her Catherine-inspired wardrobe proved adaptable to all these situations. Sarah began mentoring other teachers at Wellington Academy, sharing not only her educational expertise, but also her understanding of professional presentation. Many of these younger teachers faced the same challenges Sarah had encountered: excellent qualifications, but limited confidence in professional settings. Sarah's guidance helped them develop both their teaching skills and their professional presence. The mentoring work led to an invitation to join the Teacher Development Committee at Wellington Academy. This committee was responsible for supporting new teachers and developing professional standard for the entire school. Sarah's rapid professional growth had positioned her as someone who understood both the challenges facing new teachers and the strategies for overcoming them. Dr. Morrison's research project was progressing well, and Sarah's contributions were becoming increasingly valuable. The data they were collecting suggested that teacher confidence had significant impacts on student achievement, supporting Sarah's own experience of how personal transformation could influence professional effectiveness. This research might eventually influence teacher training programs nationwide. Sarah's financial situation had improved dramatically with her promotion and consulting income. She was able to pay off her debts and even begin saving for future goals. The discipline she had learned while building her professional wardrobe on a budget served her well in managing her improved finances responsibly. As autumn deepened, Sarah began planning for the holiday season and the professional events it would bring. Catherine's approach to formal work provided excellent guidance for navigating the more elaborate occasions that Sarah's elevated professional status now required. She learned to adapt elegant evening looks within her budget, understanding that formal didn't necessarily mean expensive. Sarah's notebook had evolved into a comprehensive guide to professional development that extended far beyond clothing choices. She documented strategies for networking, presentation skills, time management, and career planning. The confidence that had started with learning to dress well had expanded into a complete approach to professional growth. The success of Sarah's mathematics curriculum led to an unexpected opportunity: an invitation to present her work to education officials at the Department for Education. This meeting could influence national policy regarding mathematics teaching, representing a level of professional impact Sarah had never imagined possible when she first read about Catherine's budget-friendly style choices. Preparing for the Department for Education meeting, Sarah felt grateful for the journey that had brought her to this point. She chose her outfit carefully, selecting pieces that conveyed both competence and approachability. The confidence she had gained through her style transformation would serve her well in advocating for educational changes that could benefit students across the country. Sarah's story was becoming an inspiration to others facing similar challenges. Colleagues at education conferences would approach her, curious about her rapid professional rise. Sarah would share her story honestly, explaining how learning to present herself professionally had opened doors and created opportunities for greater impact in her chosen field. The transformation that had begun with a simple desire to look more professional had evolved into something much more significant. Sarah had discovered that true confidence came not from expensive clothes, but from understanding how to present her best self in any situation. Catherine's example had provided the roadmap, but Sarah had walked the journey herself, developing skills and confidence that extended far beyond fashion choices. As Sarah reflected on her journey while preparing for the Department for Education meeting, she realized that the most important lesson from Catherine's approach wasn't about specific clothing items or brands. It was about the understanding that how we present ourselves to the world affects how we see ourselves and how others see us. This awareness had the power to transform not just individual lives, but entire careers and the people those careers touched. 1 year after discovering Catherine's budget-friendly approach to royal style, Sarah stood before the mirror in her new office at the Department for Education. Her reflection showed a woman transformed not just in appearance, but in purpose and confidence. The navy dress she wore was one Catherine had chosen for a similar government meeting, but Sarah had made it entirely her own through the confidence and expertise she brought to her work. The meeting with education officials had gone beyond Sarah's wildest expectations. Not only had they been impressed with her mathematics curriculum, but they had offered her a position as primary education policy advisor. The role would allow Sarah to influence teaching standards and curriculum development across the entire country, affecting the lives of hundreds of thousands of children. Sarah's first project in her new role involved developing guidelines for teacher professional development. Drawing from her own experience and the research she had conducted with Dr. Morrison, Sarah understood that teacher confidence was crucial for student success. Her policy recommendations included provisions for professional presentation training, recognizing that how teachers felt about themselves directly impacted their effectiveness in the classroom. The salary increase that came with Sarah's government position was substantial, but the lessons she had learned about thoughtful spending during her budget transformation remained valuable. Sarah continued to shop with Catherine's methodology, choosing pieces that were versatile, well-made, and appropriate for her diverse professional responsibilities. She had learned that true style wasn't about having unlimited money, but about making smart choices regardless of budget. Emma had followed Sarah's example and begun her own style transformation, using the principles Sarah had learned from studying Catherine's approach. Emma's confidence in her marketing career had grown significantly, leading to a promotion and new opportunities. The friends often joked that Catherine had inadvertently become their unofficial style mentor, but they both understood that the real transformation had come from within themselves. Sarah's relationship with her mother had evolved beautifully during this period. Her mother visited London for the celebration of Sarah's government appointment, and Sarah was able to treat her to a lovely weekend seeing the sights and staying in a nice hotel. Her mother's pride in Sarah's achievements was evident, and Sarah felt grateful for the foundation of hard work and determination her mother had instilled in her. The media attention around Sarah's appointment led to an unexpected invitation, a feature in the same magazine that had originally published the article about Catherine's budget-friendly style. The writer wanted to explore how ordinary women were inspired by Catherine's approachable approach to elegance. Sarah agreed to share her story, hoping it might inspire other women facing similar challenges. Preparing for the magazine interview, Sarah reflected on the profound changes in her life over the past year. The young woman who had felt defeated by professional rejections had evolved into someone who was now helping to shape national education policy. Catherine's example had provided the initial inspiration, but Sarah's own determination and hard work had created these opportunities. The magazine photographer captured Sarah in her government office, wearing a sophisticated ensemble that perfectly represented her professional evolution. The outfit featured a classic white shirt and well-tailored blazer, pieces that Catherine had worn countless times, but that Sarah had made distinctly her own. The accompanying article would tell the story of how accessible style could open doors and transform lives. Sarah's work at the Department for Education was challenging and rewarding. She was developing programs that would help teachers across the country feel more confident and effective in their classrooms. Her own experience of transformation informed these initiatives, as she understood firsthand how external confidence could create internal growth. The teacher development programs Sarah created included modules on professional presentation and communication skills. These weren't superficial additions, but essential components of effective teaching. Sarah's research had confirmed that students responded better to teachers who carried themselves with confidence and authority, regardless of the subject matter being taught. Dr. Morrison's research project had culminated in a published study that was gaining international attention. The findings supported what Sarah had experienced personally, that teacher confidence significantly impacted student achievement. The study was being cited by education researchers worldwide and was influencing teacher training programs in multiple countries. Sarah's expertise was increasingly recognized beyond the UK. She received invitations to speak at international education conferences, sharing her insights about teacher development and student achievement. These opportunities allowed her to see how the principles she had learned from Catherine's approach to style could be applied across cultures and educational systems. The international speaking engagements required Sarah to navigate different cultural expectations around professional dress. Catherine's classic, elegant approach proved universally appropriate, demonstrating the wisdom of choosing timeless pieces over trendy items. Sarah's wardrobe traveled well and served her effectively in diverse professional contexts around the world. Wellington Academy invited Sarah to return as a guest speaker for their teacher development program. Standing before the same staff room where she had once felt like an outsider, Sarah spoke about the importance of teacher confidence and professional development. Many of the newer teachers were facing the same challenges Sarah had encountered, and her story provided both inspiration and practical guidance. Mrs. Pemberton, now retired, attended Sarah's talk at Wellington Academy. After the presentation, she confided that she had watched Sarah's transformation with great interest and admiration. Mrs. Pemberton explained that she had always believed in Sarah's potential, but had been concerned about her confidence in professional settings. The changes in Sarah's presentation had allowed her true abilities to shine through. Sarah's success had created opportunities for her to give back to her community. She established a small foundation that provided professional wardrobe assistance to new teachers from low-income backgrounds. The foundation operated on the principles Sarah had learned, that looking professional was an investment in career success, and that this investment should be accessible to everyone regardless of their financial situation. The foundation's work attracted media attention and support from several fashion retailers who donated professional clothing for the program. Sarah was careful to ensure that the donated pieces followed Catherine's principles. Classic, versatile items that would serve recipients well across various professional situations. The program helped hundreds of new teachers feel confident and prepared for their careers. Emma joined the foundation as a volunteer, using her marketing skills to promote the program and secure donations. Working together on this project strengthened their friendship and gave both women a sense of purpose beyond their individual careers. They often reflected on how a single magazine article about Catherine's style had led to such meaningful work helping others. Sarah's relationship with Margaret, the elderly woman she had met while shopping, had continued over the months. Margaret became a volunteer for the foundation, sharing her decades of experience with professional dressing. Her wisdom about quality, fit, and timeless style proved invaluable in helping young teachers make smart choices about their professional wardrobes. The foundation's success led to partnerships with teacher training colleges across the country. Professional presentation workshops became part of the standard curriculum for new teachers, ensuring that future generations would enter their careers feeling confident and well-prepared. Sarah's personal transformation had influenced educational policy at the national level. As Sarah prepared for a major education summit, where she would present her research to an international audience, she chose her outfit with the same care she had learned to apply to all her professional choices. The elegant black dress and classic blazer she selected were reminiscent of Catherine's style, but unmistakably Sarah's own. She had learned to honor her inspiration while developing her unique professional identity. The education summit was a tremendous success. Sarah's presentation about the connection between teacher confidence and student achievement was received with enthusiasm by educators from around the world. Several countries expressed interest in implementing similar teacher development programs, potentially impacting millions of students globally. Standing at the podium during the Education Summit, Sarah thought about the journey that had brought her to this moment. A year earlier, she had been a struggling teacher who felt invisible in professional settings. Now, she was influencing education policy on an international scale. Catherine's example had provided the catalyst, but Sarah's own courage and determination had created this transformation. The questions from the international audience were thoughtful and challenging. Sarah responded with the confidence and expertise she had developed over months of professional growth. Her ability to communicate complex ideas clearly and persuasively had evolved alongside her professional presentation skills, creating a complete transformation that extended far beyond clothing choices. After the summit, Sarah was approached by representatives from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. They were interested in her research and wanted to explore how her teacher development methods could be adapted for use in developing countries. This opportunity represented the next phase of Sarah's career and the potential to impact education on a truly global scale. As Sarah returned to London from the International Summit, she reflected on the extraordinary year that had changed every aspect of her life. The magazine article about Catherine's budget-friendly style had opened a door to transformation, but Sarah's willingness to walk through that door had made all the difference. She had learned that confidence was something that could be developed and that external changes could create internal growth. The foundation Sarah had established continued to grow, helping more teachers each month. Sarah received letters from program recipients sharing stories of career success and increased confidence. These testimonials reminded Sarah that transformation was possible for anyone willing to invest in themselves and that small changes could have profound impacts on entire career trajectories. Sarah's story had come full circle in the most beautiful way. The shy teacher who had once felt defeated by professional challenges had become someone who was helping to shape the future of education. Catherine's approach to accessible elegance had provided the inspiration, but Sarah's journey proved that transformation was possible for anyone willing to believe in themselves and take action toward their goals. Looking ahead, Sarah felt excited about the possibilities that lay before her. Her work with UNESCO would allow her to influence education policy globally, potentially helping millions of children receive better instruction from more confident teachers. The principles she had learned from Catherine's style philosophy had evolved into a comprehensive approach to personal and professional development that could benefit educators worldwide. The young woman who had once believed that elegance was something you were born with now understood that confidence, like style, could be learned and developed. Sarah's transformation had taught her that the most important changes happen from the inside out, but sometimes external changes could provide the catalyst for internal growth. Catherine's democratic approach to royal style had shown Sarah that true elegance was accessible to anyone willing to approach it thoughtfully and purposefully.